It's that time of year again. I want to give a garden tour to let you know how the garden's going on here at the James household. So here's a good angle of it. Garden. So take you down the rows here. Doesn't it look just beautiful? It's amazing what God has given us. This is basil. Those all came up from last year, randomly. So I just kept them there. Tomato plant. That's basil I planted over there though. These tomatoes all came up. All these tomatoes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They came up by themselves from last year's plants. So I'm just wondering what the varieties they are and hoping they're not all the same. But I transplanted them. They were in different spots and I just put them where I wanted them to be. But then I did start some from seed down the other part of the garden. So I built this weird cage thing. It was kind of like I just did the walls at first and then realized I needed to do walls between them, and so I ended up being a little weird structure. But that's what we got here. Got a little bit of lettuce down there. This is the thing, I plant things like I try to plant things every month or so, or 3 weeks, according to what would make sense at that time for succession planting. So I'll plant cilantro probably 7 times this growing season, kind of thing. You just plant a little bit at a time of things throughout the year, and you just kind of continually have a little bit of everything you need. So right here we got, this is ground cherries. They're kind of like a mix between a cherry tomato and a tomatillo. They're very interesting. These are the onions I planted in the early spring. I actually did these by starts rather than seed because I didn't start seeds this winter. That's another long story. Usually I do them by seed. We got a little tomatillo right there. We got some radishes right there. A whole bunch of lettuce right here that's ready to make awesome salads. Got some bell peppers and some different types of peppers that overwintered, and so I just let them stay there and see what they do, and they're doing good. And then this is a pole bean that just randomly came up from last year. So I stuck a pole in the ground and they're growing up it, and it's given us beans already. It's given us a lot of beans already, and it's just one plant. Isn't that amazing? And I thought I'd just keep it here, stick a stick in the ground, let it climb up it, and it has done so, and it's gone to the top and over. Those things go so high. How high would it go if I let it go? Look at that. It's climbed probably 9 feet already, but it doesn't have enough pull, so it flopped over. More onions all the way down to there. Onion. Gotta have enough onions. And this is called a pepino dulce. It makes like these things that are like a mix between a melon and a cucumber, but they're sweet. Let's see if we can find one in there. Yeah, they're in here somewhere. Come on, where are you, pepino dulces? Pepino dulce. Oh, there's one, a small one. That's what they look like. They look like Roma tomatoes, but green. And they get bigger than that. There's another one down there. So last year I started the plant. I didn't get a whole lot, like maybe just 2 or 3 or 4. But this year, it overwintered. I think it's a perennial every year to come back probably. And it'll give us a lot more this year. Okay, row number 2. We got some eggplants out here. There's another, never mind, that's not eggplant. That's actually a bottle gourd that I'm gonna pull up. This is the tomato that started by seed. Tomato I started by seed. This is the tomato actually I bought. Oh wait, no. I started that one from seed too. So I got a good variety when all said and done. Lots of different types of tomatoes. These are some corn for grain corn. Those are one of my favorite staples. for the winter time. You can make polenta with it, which basically I just do it like cornmeal, kind of like malto meal but with corn. It's my favorite thing. And here's a little bunch of sweet corn. Probably give us like, I don't know, optimistically five corns for a dinner one night. This is tomatillos to make your salsa verde. These came up like crazy all over the garden like a weed. So I transplanted like 4 of them here, one died. And they're doing fantastic. So they'll give us some more salsa verde. Got some more peppers that overwintered, some more lettuce I randomly put in there a while back. I need to plant some more lettuce now. This is perilla, a little bunch of perilla that I planted. I don't know if you know what perilla is, but it kind of smells like potpourri. I don't know how to describe it. Some people might say minty, but not really. And Koreans love it. They put it in all kinds of things. And so I use it as a season in salads and stuff, and it's good. Eggplant, some cilantro. These are some baby cilantros, which is actually quite a bit. I should say preteen. This is a preteen cilantro. And then I got green onions here, in case you want some green onions. A random kale. Looks like a red Russian kale that came up by itself, so I thought I'd let it sit there. There's even a little bit of fennel right in here, and a little bit of random fennel on this. Came up by himself. Here's a butternut squash. I'm gonna let it climb up this cage and give us some butternut squash. Look, it's already got one on there. That's a pea that came up by itself, so I just let it be there. It's given me like 7 peas so far, just for fun, just kept a plant, just eat the piece that they gave me. Ooh, that was a good one. And some kale hiding down there. Tomato. This is arugula. Very spicy. I just put this in salads a little bit. And these are some different random green lettuces. I don't remember what this is called, Mizuna or something, I forget. Here's some just regular green lettuce of some type of variety. Sometimes the lettuces are amazingly sweet. That one was pleasant. Going down, look, you got more lettuce. See, whenever I plant every 3 weeks or 4 weeks, hopefully. And whenever I figure out what seeds are there, it makes sense to plant at that time for a new succession. And according to the season and all that. I just go through all the things that I possibly can plant and then pick out the ones that make sense. And I just find a space for them in the garden. So it's really cool because you got little things growing up everywhere. It's kind of like a jungle of food at different times of the year. Tomatoes, more lettuce, tomatoes. Here's bok choy I planted. A whole bunch of bok choys. These are our other bok choys that we planted earlier. Now they're going to seed though, you see. And we ate a good amount of them, but now we got the new ones coming up that I planted, 3 weeks after that or something. So you have like a succession. This one I planted too much. That's too much bok choy, because I want to plant bok choy again in like another 3 weeks, or actually no, like this week actually I should plant a little, but I'll just do like this much, because when you're planting it successively, you don't need a lot at once, just a little handful. Here's a little okra that's finally looking good. Another okra down here that's looking okay. That's what this was supposed to be, okras, but 2 of them died. So I'm growing some more right now. I'm gonna put them in. This is Malabar spinach, which came up like crazy, volunteer all over the garden. See, there's another one down there. They're everywhere. But this was gonna be, what was gonna be here originally? I think more okra. And the okras didn't do well, and so I put this here instead to climb up something, because we also like this. I just transplanted it from other places in the garden because they came up volunteer. So this will be okra over here in Malabar spinach, and maybe some okra over there. Malabar spinach is a summer loving plant that makes these yummy leaves that you can eat all summer long. Kind of has almost when you chew it down, almost like a little bit of a slimy texture, but it's good. Filipinos love it. Then we got another tomato here right next to a volunteer black nightshade. makes these little berries on here, the little black berries. I haven't had one yet. They haven't gotten to that point, but look, they're getting close. These are not poisonous. They're related to another plant that's poisonous, but these are not poisonous. So I thought I'd let it go. A lot of these came up volunteer as well, and they make really nice, sweet berries. They're interesting, but they're also this is a cage for a tomato plant, not for a black nightshade. So the black nightshade I'm treating as a inferior plant. Sometimes I plant things together. One's the dominant one, one's the inferior one. So I'll trim this one back. This black nightshade, I'll just literally cut it back if it threatens light and stuff for the original plant that's supposed to be here, which is this tomato. So I kind of trim it back, and because it's an extra plant. It's not supposed to. The priority plant is tomato. So the other plant I trim back so it doesn't harm it at all. And then you have two crops next to each other. Here are some cute little radishes. These are little white ball radishes. Check this out. Look at this cute little white ball. It's a spring radish. There are spring radishes and fall radishes, and this is a spring radish. And it's, you know, it's like those classic spring radish where it's just really spicy. And it's like those radishes that you get at the taco trucks, those red ones. They're kind of the same. But these ones, there's a difference between these and red ones, but I don't know. These ones are sweeter to me. But maybe that's just because they grew right here or something. Not fibrous whatsoever. Sweet, juicy, but it does have that classic bitter radish flavor to it. So it's hard to take in. Ooh, spicy too. But good. For a radish, it's good. I don't eat them raw usually. I usually bake them, roast them, or in a stir fry, and that takes away their bitterness completely. Almost completely. Not noticeable very much. And they're really good that way. That's my favorite way to eat them. Here are some daddy cilantros. These guys have grown up and seen life, the good and the bad, and they've come out conquerors. And so they're older than those baby cilantros over there. But they are still young enough to have plenty of cilantros for whatever you want to throw them on. Salsa, as a side garnish. And then look, those are probably the oldest cilantros over there. They're going to seed now. So I have a lot of successions. There's some cilantro down there. I just constantly plant cilantro a little bit here and there, but I've planted a little too much, I see now. Tomato, more perilla that I was talking about before, that minty-ish, potpourri flavored. There's a random basil. And on this side, see, got another intercrop. This is kale. It's a certain variety of kale, not like the other kale. It's not a red Russian, it's a different kind of kale. And so that's cool. We got, you just plant it occasionally, successionally. I can plant that again. Oh, definite unique flavor of kale. That's good. And I can plant, this is actually way too much kale. If I let this grow, it'll grow all summer and then have big fat stems, each single one of them. So I'll probably cut them back because don't want them to get huge. But anyway, there's some kale there. Here are some parsnips. One of my favorite root crops, parsnips. I just love the earthy flavor of these babies. So if you don't know what a parsnip is, it makes these roots that look like carrots, but they're usually bigger generally, and they're white, and they're creamy. They're really good. Some spinach right there. Spinach started doing really well, but it's going to seed now. So I'm going to plant a little bit more spinach, see how it does in this hotter temperatures. I think it'll be okay for a little while because we're not at the super hot temperatures yet. And then you got some peppers here from last year. They didn't die in the winter, and so look, they're coming back and they're already making us peppers. So that's like the fastest way to get peppers is just overwinter yours, and then they make like a pepper. I've seen peppers that get really big and make a lot of peppers the next year. So look at this guy, he's making peppers already. Moving down. This used to be radishes, that I planted before, red radishes, but we ate most of them, and then the rest we've put in the compost or something, I forget, or I use it as a mulch. I forgot over here. Oh yeah, I think this might be red radishes, a succession of red radishes. What's underneath? Yeah, that's red radish as well. I don't know if you can see that. These don't look as good. Looks like they're gonna get a little bit woody too fast. I don't know, we'll see. Got pepper plants. These peppers I actually bought from place. These 3. So I got some chili peppers. This is actually some Swiss chard. I have beets over there, but Swiss chard I think is slightly different. The leaves, you can eat the beet leaves and the Swiss chard leaves, but Swiss chard is maybe a little slightly different. Not bitter whatsoever. Juicy. Got its own Swiss chard flavor. Tomato. Here's another couple tomatoes. And then you have black nightshade as well. But I'm trimming it so that it doesn't interfere with the main crop. Here's 3 eggplants. They're looking good, actually. Looking like some good eggplants. Here's another eggplant. Tomato. So I ended up doing quite a bit of tomatoes this year. I probably did too many again, like I should not do. But anyway, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eggplants that I bought as little plants, and they're doing really well. Look at that. See when I have weeds down here? I like to pull the weeds out and then use the weed. You don't throw away the weeds. You use it as a mulch. See, I'll take all these weeds out, for example, and that becomes the mulch for my plants like that. But I really ideally should have mulched the whole garden before I planted and just pull back the mulch. That would have really helped with water retention and keeping the weeds down. But maybe next time I shall do that. Here's some parsley. That'll be our parsley for probably all the way till winter and beyond, maybe. And then here's a little patch of carrots. Got to have your little carrot patch, and got to plant that every month. I need to plant another patch of carrots here soon because these are coming on now. They're about ready to become adult carrots. They're still a teenager phase a little bit, and I just throw down a bunch of seeds, and if they get too dense and you get a whole bunch of small ones, I don't even care, because it seems like the big ones end up pushing their way through and giving you some good stuff, and you end up getting a good crop anyway. So I'm like, why bother even thinning? You probably end up getting more in the long run if you don't thin anyway, and it's easier. Look at that baby. See, that was like right next to a bunch of other carrots, but it finds a way, and it still gives me a decent sized carrot. So let's wash this off real quick and eat it. Here's the carrot. Yummy yum. See, when you get it straight from the garden, you don't have to peel it. Wow. That's good. It's sweet. Good carrot. I'll put this mulch. This is mulch now. I'll put it down here. Give some mulch to this. See how I throw weeds around it? Okay, so where were we? Got the carrots. Then we got a little beet patch. See, beets grow, pretty much you can have beets year round in here in Northern California. And so I plant these ever so often. I need to plant another batch, like right now. But you just need a small one. I mean, how many beets can you eat? And you can put a lot of beets in one space. So you just plant every 3 weeks, every 5 weeks, a little patch of beets, and you'll have beets like all the time. Look at that big baby. That's a white, not a red beet, but like a white one kind of variety. And so I'm happy those came up well. And of course you got the classic reds. Those are, you can't ever beat those. They are delicioso. And they're sweet. I had one last night. I picked one and ate it today, and it was nice. It was nice and sweet. Then we got our potato patch. I gotta plant another potato patch. See how it does in the going into the hot weather. This is about ready to pull. Probably 2 more weeks max, and I'll pull up all the potatoes out here. We'll probably have a really good harvest here because they were doing really well this year. And then we got some arugula from before going to seed, and we got a little patch of sweet corn here. This will give us a good amount of sweet corn for a couple dinners, maybe 2 or 3 dinners. The thing is, I plant a little bit, but I plant everything. And then I successively plant. Remember the sweet corn over there? Then you have this sweet corn. And now I'm going to plant some more sweet corn. I actually already did plant some. I'll show you that over there. Because if you plant a bunch of sweet corn, then all of a sudden you have like 30 ears of corn to eat. And your family is not going to want to eat corn every single night, right? So you plant according to how you eat. You plant a little bit as you go. So we'll have corn now. We'll have beets that you can have, some carrots that'll last a while. And you have a little bit of everything that's available without having too much all at once. That's the way to do it, I think. This is Jerusalem artichokes. They're not related to the artichoke whatsoever, but they make a root underneath that looks like ginger, but is more like a potato, but has this kind of a taste of an artichoke heart. They're really delicious. A lot of people complain about them wreaking havoc on their digestive system, but I don't know why. I've never had any issues, so you just gotta try it for yourself, see if you can take it. But I love them, and they're super easy to grow, and they grow like so many tubers. That's a good survival crop. This is the cucumber aisle. All this is all going to be cucumbers. I come through sometimes and I see them like going out here, and I just tuck them back inside. Try to keep them growing up the vine, and they'll just crawl up this and have a bunch of cucumbers hanging down soon. I should probably plant some more of these in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, so we can have a succession of those. Oh, look at this guy. It's got a little cucumber on it already. Then we got our pole bean section. These are pole beans. Green. Oh, what the heck? That's the first one I saw. I didn't even think they were ready yet, but this is like a early starter. Look at this guy. That's big already. It's probably like the only one in here that's like that. Let's chow taste. Classic green bean. Very good. There's nothing right there. I haven't seen these before. Anyway, those are the first. They're going to start making some more. I also planted in here this, which is called yard long bean. And if I can get that to climb up there too, then it'll take off, and it makes like literally a yard long bean. Different variety, but very good. There's some yard long beans here. And here's some more green beans, bush variety. So I got pole and bush. So these guys are going to start pumping out. We're going to get beans a lot soon here, green beans. Cool thing about green beans is if you don't get to them, let them go, they dry out. You can totally harvest the dried beans and use those to make refried beans or put them in soups, all kinds of stuff. And they store as a very easy storing crop because you don't do anything to them to preserve them, just throw them in a jar. Here's another pepper plant from last year. I wonder if anybody knows what this is. This is garbanzo beans or chickpeas. They'll make little pods where the chickpeas live, and it's like a pod of only like 2 chickpeas for each pod. And I'm hoping a certain kind of bug, like caterpillar kind of thing, burrows in and eats them. So hopefully that doesn't happen this year. We'll see how it goes. Some random mint here. I'm so glad this mint came up because I didn't plant mint. But this soil is from my homemade compost and my friend's homemade compost. That's what's making this soil bed. That's a whole nother story. Secret to garden is good nutrient dense soil. Doesn't mean you have to do it this way, but this is one way. So this is peppermint that came up probably because it was in my old compost. And I'm glad because Now I don't have to plant it. And the coolest thing about it is this is peppermint, but then also came up randomly right next to the peppermint, interestingly. This one is spearmint. So it smells exactly like that gum. Something in the flavor of devil mint gum. That one. Oh man, it smells exactly like it. So you got candy cane mint, spearmint mint, and then we have another mint that came up. Oh no, okay, wait, over here. That's also a spearmint. Where's the chocolate mint? There's a chocolate mint that oh, maybe this was the chocolate mint. I'm getting, when you smell a bunch of mints at the same hand, you get all confused. But anyways, there's 3 types of mints here, and they're awesome. This is taro. Makes a tuber, like a potato. In my mission, when I served a mission for my church, I went to New Zealand, and they ate this like crazy in New Zealand, and they eat it like crazy in, I think, all the Pacific Islands, and other Asian countries too, I believe. And this one makes these little tubers in the bottom that look like this, and they're really tasty. They're like a starchy potato, but they have a distinct flavor that's really good. So that's what that is. This is acorn squash, because I want to have some winter squash in here, not just the butternut. But they're vining out. I thought they stayed more put, so I was kind of confused about that. I thought they were more like a contained winter squash, unlike many other winter squash that vine out. This is supposed to be more contained, I thought. So I'm gonna have to put cages up because I don't want them to take over everywhere, and they'll climb up a cage. It'll look cool. And then over here we got delicata squash, which is another squash that's not supposed to vine out like crazy. And it doesn't look like it is. It's vine out a little bit, but it's kind of staying put, and it'll make some winter squash that will be good. This is another tomatillo. I planted these by seed. And so this will make, I think, a different variety, hopefully, tomatillos. Here's some sweet potatoes I planted in the ground, and some sweet potatoes that came up, sprouted last year. I transplanted this spot. We actually really grow these sweet potatoes for the leaves, because Filipinos love these leaves at the tips of these sweet potato shoots. They call it talbos, I think. And they're really good. They're like a meaty kind of leaf in the summer. So we eat them for that, but then at the end of the year also, we dig them up and get any sweet potatoes that it made too. So they like the heat, so they're coming on a little bit later. They're starting to do well now as it's warming up. It's May 25th or something right now. Here's lemon balm. It looks like mint, but it's lemon balm. It smells just like lemon. And really good flavor, but it's really aggressive, and it spreads like crazy. So I've been pulling them out like crazy as a weed. But I want to leave a couple because they're awesome. Here's a patty pan squash, or they look like a scallop squash. I don't know if those are the same thing or not, but it's another summer squash. I have a zucchini right here. These are the only 2 summer squashes I have, because that's all you need. If you plant more than 1 summer squash, you must either really, really love summer squash or have a huge family to plant more than 1 plant of summer squashes, because they just pump out if they're healthy. Especially if you plant a lot of other stuff. You don't have time to cook zucchini all that much when you're eating a little bit of everything, which is how I like it. So I just plant 1 zucchini plant. That's more than enough. This zucchini plant's been so healthy. It's pumping out a zucchini pretty much every other day. We got a zucchini from here. These are soybeans. They're looking really good too, man. I've never seen soybeans so healthy. They're awesome. These, we grow this for edamame. We pick the pods when they're nice and plump. Just boil them with some salt water. Delicioso. Here are some more cilantros. Success in planting. Here's an artichoke plant that came up, and I didn't even plant it. It just randomly came up there, but I thought I might as well just keep it there for now. Probably pull it out later because it's not really one where I want it to be, but it already gave us one artichoke, which I ate. It was delicioso. And look, it's making it's making a lot more. But before I look at that more, look down here. Check that out. What is that alien looking thing coming out of the ground? This is ube. An actual ube yam. The yams you see in the grocery store are often mislabeled. They're not actually yams, they're sweet potatoes. Those orange ones you eat at Thanksgiving, those are sweet potatoes. This is a true yam. It doesn't have a sweet flavor to its root that it makes. It has rather a starchy, staple starch calorie crop that you can eat. And they make big roots, and they're purple and beautiful looking. Here's another one coming up. And I planted one over there too. Hopefully it comes up. But they'll cover this whole thing. That's why this is like the artichoke plant is a secondary priority. So once this gets going, I'm gonna really chop this back so that the ube can take its rightful place as king in this area. Here's another bell pepper plant from last year. See this Malabar spinach came up everywhere. Here's some more lemon balm. This I think is thyme. Little herb I planted there. Here's another taro that's looking really good because it actually was planted last year and just came up. It overwintered, it died back and came up, so it's bigger and beefier. So here's that artichoke plant. Look at that. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 artichokes popping their heads up right now. See how big they get. See if we can get some good eating off those babies. Got a random eggplant right here. And this is supposed to be my melon patch. So I got some melon started here. I think cantaloupe. Here's another cantaloupe. And here's a cucumber that volunteered and came up, and I didn't have the heart to kill it. But I think I'm growing a heart to kill it because I don't want it to. It's a secondary plant. I don't want to take over the melon patch. So I'll either trim it so that it can produce something or something. Because look, here's a watermelon. It's supposed to be here. Watermelon has a right to be here, not the cucumber. So I'm gonna have to trim that back. Here's another cucumber or something, some kind of melon. There's another melon. There's another watermelon. So I'm hoping those babies come up and crawl up on the fence. This is by the way, this is poppy. It's a California poppy. I just like those flowers. They look pretty, so I planted some on the side here. So every now and then we get a poppy seed. These guys are already closed up, but they're really pretty color, really pretty orange. And you go along, and you got, this is the bottle gourd plant. There's 2 of them, and it's so pretty how they spread out like that naturally. They do that all naturally. They love climbing. They can climb really well, and they just like hold on so tight with these little thing. They're not going to come off. And they make bottle gourds, these squash looking gourds. They're the kind of thing that get really big, and if you let them dry out, you can make a bowl out of them. That kind of family, but I don't know if they're ideal for that, but they will. But we eat them when they're smaller, and kind of like a summer squash kind of idea. But they'll crawl over they'll take over everything. I'll see how that goes. Here's a pepper plant that just looks so beautiful. Doesn't that look like an ideal pepper plant? It volunteered there, so I just let it go. Here's some more success in planting of lettuce. So that's kind of the newest lettuce. This is called bitter melon. It's very popular in the Philippines. They call it ampalaya. And it will climb up and make these little melons that are really bitter. And I don't know why anybody eats them, but they do. And people in my family eat them, so I grow them. I'll eat a couple of them just to give them the honor of existing, but they're bitter. So this is a tomato plant. I remember when I was thinning out a bunch of tomatoes that we had way too many that came up as volunteers, and then I planted some over here, and I just pulled up one random one, and I was like, oh, I don't want to kill it, so I just shoved it in the ground there. It was like looking all piddly and dead. Now it looks like the best tomato plant ever. It's so nice looking. I have to like give it a cage or something. And right here it's going to be a loofah gourd, or in Tagalog they call it patola. It also is like a gourd like that, but it makes these different looking fruits that end up, if you dry them out, you can take off the skin and they're all dried, and they turn into a sponge, a natural sponge. If you've heard of loofah sponges, that's how they make them. It's a plant that grows, so that's pretty cool. But we eat them when they're young, and they're really good. Filipinos love them, and they're really tasty when they're young before they get all fibrous. And so that's the end of the garden tour. Here it is from this angle. Ooh, the sun is right in the eyes. And then this is some propagation for future. See, this is some more sweet corn. I'll transplant those real quick. They need transplanted right away. And that'll give me a new succession of sweet corn. Here's some more watermelons. I'll probably plant those somewhere, let them climb up something. These are sunflowers. I'm gonna put those as end caps to these rows. I think it'd be cool just to have like a big sunflower as end cap. Some eggplants started by seed, so that'll be a succession of eggplants, you know, that came up later. And this is lemongrass. I started by seed. I've never tried starting lemongrass by seed before, but this is what it looks like. This is also lemongrass. This is chayote, another super climbing, interesting thing that it's not big, so I'm not gonna talk about it. Tomato I couldn't kill, so I saved it. Tomatillo I couldn't kill, so I saved it. This is a moringa. It's a tree, actually. You grow it, and the Filipinos love the leaves, and it's supposed to be really healthy for you. And here is the loofah, and right here is loofah. That's what I'm going to transplant right there, because the original seeds I planted died there. Here's some more okra. See some okra here and okra here? That'll be my succession of okra. And these are actually hollyhocks. First time I've experimented with flowers. I'll try to plant those somewhere and make it look pretty back here. And here's some peppers I started by seed. So I'm going to transplant those real soon too. And that will be a succession of peppers. So there it is. There's the garden. And here's a zoomed out version view. The sun's at an angle, so it's kind of hard to see it, but there it is. I hope if you have a garden, you're getting good stuff this year. And if you live near me, tell me about it and we can trade some stuff, because I'll have lots of extra. Thank you.